Hey guys, this is I'm Alan Baker
Erik
and
Paulson.
I'm Bob also at the same time.
I'm Erik Paulson's dad.
This is my grandfather,
Oh, got
Robert Paulson. He
His
was
name-
also in Fight Club.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Sad Meatloaf died, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was Robert Paulson.
I read some stories that were talking about his career, but also some of his background stuff I never had heard before.
I went and downloaded Bat Out of Hell after he died and listened to the whole thing. I'd never listened to that whole album before. It's so good.
It's kind of like, isn't it like Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah, he was that kind of singer.
Yeah.
Very performative.
Like Frank Sinatra style.
He kind of had his own, like he was really intense.
Edge.
Super intense. Awesome, though. Let me mute this so I don't have weird dings going off in the background.
You got weird dinks going off in your background.
Do you like my glove? Is that weird?
Nerdy, but yeah, it's all right. It looks like an archer's glove.
Should I hold my pen and be very pretentious and stupid?
Yeah, you look like Sean Hannity.
Oh, no. Bye.
I don't understand why they always just hold a pen and they barely use it. It's just a
This is my mouse. I
yeah,
told you that, right? It's I use a tablet.
duper nerdy. I mean, cool.
Because this thing hurts because I get the claw.
Oh,
Welcome to the CSW Office Equipment Podcast.
well, let's see. People are getting ready for camp. I got a lot of excited people calling and texting saying they're coming, which is cool. We did book Nathan Corbett, which will be cool for the his nasty elbow system. And let's see.
He's been putting stuff on his YouTube channel. He just started a YouTube channel like a few weeks ago.
His stuff is super. I think, to be honest, I love his stuff, what he's doing, but I think he should also do a self-defense video, because what a better thing to use for self-defense, that axe handle across the face.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you see the one he put up the other day? It was like a seminar, and the guy he got real close to because he gets in your face.
Yeah, he's for a heavyweight to be that close to you and sit in the pocket.
It's scary.
Well, you know he's gonna like put that elbow on you.
Well, he did like a series of things. He didn't hit the guy, but he could have. And then he threw like this little tap at the end, and everybody's like, "Oh," because the guy like gave him a little energy back, and he just did this flurry of stuff. I got to see if I can find it.
Fast for a heavyweight. I would consider him at the low end of heavyweights. Like he's 220 and below, and then you got the 230 on up, the really bigger, heavier weights. Not that he shouldn't be fighting those guys, but it's just strange for his size that he chose to stay at that heavyweight. I mean, he hits so hard.
Dude, he hits really hard.
And the thing is he's fearless. So he just walks up and stands in your face, and then tries to put his elbows through your head.
Wow.
I like it. That's why when I interviewed him, I liked to ask him about what his theory and mentality was behind his system of fighting. And the biggest thing he said was that he could develop that elbow, the worst possible thing you could ever hit somebody with, and that was his bread and butter, along with fast hands and a hard kick.
I like his intention, like the killer instinct part of it.
Well, it's basically shit or get off the pot. I mean, you could be kicking guys, you could be kneeing guys. You know, the knee and the elbow are the two, unless you have an unbelievably timed kick like Lucia Riker had that, and Rob Kamen had that bone chopping kick, which was also set up with a couple hands. I was training kickboxing this morning with Mark and Mark Sells, and he was not used to not turning the shoulders for kicking. So you just put your hands on each other your palms on each other, and then you just practice the leg chop with a curled toe, and it's an upward chop, and that was the Lucia Riker leg chop.
That kind of sharpens the shin, right?
Yeah, but off of a liver, and it looks like a karate snap kick on the heavy bag, but then when you get hit with it, she fought Lily Rodriguez, which was Benny the Jet's sister, and she kicked her twice, and the fight was over.
Really?
Yeah, she just went bing, 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 and then she went chop, and then you could see Lily kind of her legs straightened out, and then she just stood in her right in the pocket, right in her face, and then chopped it again, and boom, fight's over.
Is Lucia Riker still around?
She went back to Holland for the COVID stuff, and I know that she was living out in the outskirts of, like, out in the woods a little bit. I guess there's like a compound or something that she was surrounded by a bunch of friends. Yeah, from what I saw, it looked like, like almost like a little village, and they were just outside of city limits.
Does she still train people? Do you know?
I don't know. I can imagine she, unless people are financially stable, which most people aren't, you always have to stay active, and do something. You have to have some sort of project or something going on, especially when you're young and you could still do it. Even when you make $1 million, $1 million doesn't last today. $1 million, how long is $1 million going to last you? So you have to constantly have some sort of income coming in. Depends
on how you live.
Yeah, like Alan, you should have 8 forms of income. But if you
entrepreneur,
you should have at least 3 to 5, I think, just so you can be comfortable.
Diversify.
Agreed.
You also have to stay completely active with your ideas, managing your schedule, creating new projects. Don't become complacent and just sit still, because you always have to be creating stuff and doing new things, and writing books and DVDs and new projects, such as new curriculum. You should also be chopping at the blocks of cutting stuff out and putting new stuff in, or changing or modifying. Nothing ever stays the same. Everything's always consistently changing with the times. But there's mastery of basics also, which I think is another thing. Like, if you've taken time out of the game for a while and you come back, you better sharpen your basic skills back. And a lot of that is just the simplified things, and also your timing, getting your timing back, because timing disappears when you don't roll and spar. Like, if you haven't boxed or kickboxed or wrestled or grappled for a while, your timing is off. And that's a big thing. If you could keep your timing on, and I think one way to keep your timing on is to stay mentally, if you can kind of stay active mentally, like you dream about it, you think about it, you write things about it, you're always staying in that mindset, because look at it like this, like, we're not overnight martial artists. We're supposed to be lifers. And as a lifer, you should be bettering your life and bettering your training. You should be constantly, like, I'm constantly researching, constantly looking at other things. And then also evaluating some of the things that we do and everything. I think the high percentage issue is such a big factor that way you have something that, like, you can keep and use the rest of your life. Some people, they get so involved in all the other stuff, and you start getting out, and you have to have that combat mentality. The combat mentality is, will this work in a real situation? Will it work for real? Couldn't I really use this is this cool? Is it martial arty? Is it artistic and fun to do, but not practical? Because in the end, you could be the fanciest fancy pants out there, and whatever you have may not work under a real situation. And then all of a sudden you're going, but I've spent all these years doing these cool, neat martial arts, and now when somebody pressures me, I sit down and suck my thumb. And I see a lot of people do that. Like,
Yep.
like you're spending all these years teaching Taekwondo, and then somebody just bum rushes you, and you no longer even have a sidekick.
That happened to me.
And all of a sudden you like sit down, and you're like, oh, I wish I knew how to grapple or something. Or the other thing is maybe you're used to sparring one-on-one with people, but you're not used to doing gang-related activities where you're fighting two or more people. And, you know, things like that happen regularly. I had that happen at Gold's Gym. I had three little smartasses call me out because I was doing a weight routine, and this kid went and sat on my piece of equipment, and I said, excuse me, can you move? I'm still in the middle of doing a triple set here, and this is I was doing 3 parts. You guys walked in late when I was doing my routine. He goes, well, you're all the way over there, old man. And right then I was like, okay, do I be diplomatic or do I lose my shit and slap him on the side of his head and then just start crisscrossing and collar tie uppercutting his two buddies? Because that's what would happen.
What happened?
Usually the best thing to do when you have a situation like that, and you know that there's going to be something happening, the first thing you do is you take out the big guy first.
Okay.
And if you could take out the big guy, then the other guys will go either, oh shit, or they'll go, quick, jump on him or get him. And then you got to line them up as much as you can. And you got to stay behind one guy as you're slugging, and then move them aside, and then stay on the outside perimeter and let them come and get you. But it's tiring, man. That's tiring, but it's pretty fun.
What happened at the gym?
What's that?
What happened at the gym?
What do you mean?
The guys who's trying to get on your weight equipment. Did it just diffuse?
I was sitting there in shock, like, oh my God, it's time. Like, you know, like you're training for your fight for so long, and you're spending all these countless hours in the gym sparring and rolling and running and cutting weight. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm fighting tonight. And it's the same thing. Like for me, I wasn't ready, and I wasn't expecting that because I was peaceful in my mind. I was doing a triple set. I was doing quads, hammies, and calves. Quads, hammies, calves. Quads, hammies, calves. And then these guys walked in, and they're all loud and obnoxious, and they stepped into my triangle of weights in my path. And then one kid decides to start camping on the calf machine.
I can't wait to see where this goes.
Well, and he goes, get out of here. He goes, get back over to where you were. You were all the way over there. Don't come all the way over here and act like you're on this piece of equipment. And I said, I'm in the middle of, you guys weren't even over here when I was doing my sets. I have 3 pieces of equipment. I shouldn't even explained it. You know, and the thing is, when something like that happens and you don't do something about it, that's where the hard part is, because now you're like, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, did, can't, won't, went, won't, I didn't do it. And the thing is, if you're going to do it, you need to do it like immediately. As soon as you think it, you do it. So as soon as you think about slapping somebody off the piece of equipment with a big old open hand, you do it.
Look at the size of that thing.
I know. It's a turkey.
So, or you could try to take the high road and say, yeah, you know, you're right. Yeah. Okay. You guys. But the thing is, you know, you get these young kids, 2 followers. There was 1 alpha and 2 followers, 2 beta males. And they're all in shape guys. They look like, well, until I watched them shadow box and I almost puked myself. The guy goes up to the heavy bag like he was going to hit the heavy bag. He started shadow boxing in front of it. And I was like, what could you ever be afraid of from this guy? Because he was just like, he was throwing his punches. And anyways.
Did you slap him?
I did it. And the thing is, I should have slapped him.
No, you shouldn't have.
It's funny because I was in the sauna, and it's funny because I went in the sauna after my workout, after I did my cardio, after I lifted, after I did my cardio, I went in the sauna, and then I went into the steam room. And can you imagine? Because in the sauna, I would have been fighting all three of those guys in the sauna.
Oh no!
I would have immediately mouthed off.
You're like Arnold.
But the thing is, you're in a close quarter situation. So now I'm not going to be punching. I'm going to be shoving my fingers in your eyes, shoving my fingers in your throat. I'm going to be biting your face and ripping your hair out of your head, and then trying to get my butt out the door. So now I can create more space so I can line them up.
This is our self-offense seminar.
Well, the thing is, just think about it. You're a peaceful person at Gold's Gym working out, just trying to get your workout in. I just want to get in, get out. I go early so nobody will bother me. And then these three cocky kids just come into your space. They got their headset on, one kid's, and they're blabbing. They're like 23-year-old kids. And maybe one was 19 and just, just cocky, loud, obnoxious. They were burping. And there's other girls around, and I'm like, hey, have some manners, say excuse me or don't burp. So, like, this isn't an all guys gym, because if it was, then I wouldn't say a word. But look at, you got old women, you have older girls that are working out there. Have some respect. He comes over, one guy farted really loud, the other guy was burping, they were just loud and obnoxious, and that alone is like grounds. They've just disobeyed the human conduct code, so that alone should give you the right to walk up and just slap them.
Yeah, this got a little deeper now.
Well, it just, you know what, you guys, you're being super rude, super obnoxious. You're on your phones. You're sitting here on your phones when I'm working out, doing my workout. I don't have a phone with me. Your phone stays in the locker room. What do you need your phone for? Unless you're listening to music. You're sitting there, you're reading your texts, and you're lifting weights, and you're looking at your face, taking pictures of yourself. It's like, that's not what the gym's for. The gym is to get in and get out, get your workout.
I'm getting annoyed now too.
Well, just think of this. You got a guy, he's fighting, he's in fight practice, and all of a sudden, you're like, all right, get a drink of water. You look over, and he's on his phone. It's like, what are you doing? You can't take an hour and a half of your time to train professionally. So it's just the same thing. If you're on call and you got a job, that's one thing. But, when you're checking to see who's texting you, or if your girlfriend called or whatever, it's like that should be done after practice.
You like Tarantino? Like, you ever heard Quentin Tarantino's policy on cell phones? You have to check them in at the beginning of the day, and then you get it back when you're done. If you get caught with a cell phone on his set, he fires you right there.
Great. Oh. It's wonderful.
Obviously, I don't know Quentin Tarantino, but I did hear about that.
That way you get the full presence of the actor.
Yeah, he's serious about it.
Guys, this is Tonya. I don't know if you know.
Hey, guys.
Are you gonna join us today?
I'm coming in on the podcast because Rick is just now done with class, and he's asking if he can join in really quick.
100%.
And he says, how can I join? Did you send him a link, Bob?
I did on Facebook.
He wasn't trying to rant and rave.
No, that was great.
That's a normal. That's like the 7-Eleven situation. It's like the gas station thing. I see guys getting arguments all the time at the gas pump.
Did you ever see that guy? Those people pulled up in the van, tried to jack his car, and he sprayed gas all over him.
Yeah, smart.
I saw that one.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, like how are you going to respond to stuff like this?
That was instant too. Like he just did it and shut that whole thing down.
And the other thing is, don't let somebody get right into your face and your space. You need to always keep a fence up. This is the kitty claw. Oh.
He's writing. Sorry, he said he just got done with class. He's going to try to jump on.
Perfect.
And I have to run to go get some.
You gonna join? You gonna come in and join us and be?
For a few minutes, I'm going to say hi, but then I got to go because I have to go get ready for the kids' class.
She's got the I got us.
I got the definite I got us. Hold on. I'm trying.
I need to. I have to.
Ellen, did you open your new school?
Yes, first of the year.
How is it?
I like it a lot better. I mean, it's smaller.
Right?
Oh yeah, way easier to maintain. Overhead's way better.
How about the ceiling? You don't have the high overhead ceilings?
Nope. Atmosphere is better.
Oh, anytime you shrink and go smaller, the energy bounces off the walls more. Ellen, what's the name of your book? You have 2 books up?
One's out, and the second one's coming out March 14th.
That's great.
Whoa.
The first one's called what?
The Warrior's Path.
Warrior's Path. It's on Amazon.
Yes, sir.
Living in Gratitude. First thing.
It was a major part of it. I think there was a whole chapter there about gratitude.
It's called The Attitude of Gratitude. What the attitude of gratitude does, it allows you to stay humble and
keeps you in the present moment.
Present moment.
Yep.
That's important.
I'm grateful I woke up breathing this morning.
Well,
that's every morning.
I got eyes I can see and arms and legs I can use.
Yeah. So the new, you went from how many square feet down to what?
Down to 2,000 square feet from 7,000 square feet.
Whoa.
Yeah. We had
you have padded walls. Do you pad your walls?
One side.
Oh. And then do you have the bag rack? You keep it in there? Or?
No, we didn't have room.
Oh. Did you sell it?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, look who's here.
Rick!
Uh-oh. We're back.
There's the audio. Connecting the audio. Rick! Can you hear me?
We don't have his microphone yet. We got his camera.
Yay! Can you hear?
We can't hear you, Coach.
Can't hear.
You got to turn your audio on.
Audio. He doesn't. He's talking away. He can't.
There's audio.
Hold on.
You got to connect the audio with the microphone.
Oh my goodness.
There he is. I see it.
There he is.
It's connecting. It says check 1 2 3.
Hello.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Hey, congratulations, guys. Newlyweds.
Newlyweds right there.
What?
Yeah, let me see you guys
Awesome.
kiss. Let's see a kiss.
I need to see a kiss on the
Let's see a
cheek.
kiss.
Come on.
We're doing this with the glasses. Ting, ting,
Oh,
ting.
look,
Rick,
she's
come on.
doing it.
She's doing it. Let's see
She's
it.
trying to
Don't
give
be
you a
shy.
kiss, Rick.
Do it, guys. Do it.
I'm going to
Do it.
shut up. Only Erik can do that.
I'm so sorry. I my head is in the clouds. I'm so sorry. I just finished a class, and then I got a message. So I can't work my Apple, my iPhone to remind me to tell me that this is on. So I'm a terrible person. So I apologize.
No way.
And it's really, really happy to
You have
see you.
any water? You need a drink of water. You look like you're parched.
Yeah, I just rolled. We were just rolling through there. My son, Nathan, just picked me up.
Wow.
Nathan, so Fabiana is just going to give me some water just now.
I was going to say, Fabiana needs to get you something to drink.
Yeah. We just rolled for half an hour, and did a big class, so it was great. Yeah. How are you? You look super healthy, both of you.
Oh, Tonya and I have been.
Erik makes me run every day.
We've been sunbathing in the backyard.
He makes me go for walks and run. No, okay, no, let's see. This is a podcast and it's live.
I've been sunbathing in the back naked.
He's got no tan lines, Rick.
My neighbors hate me.
Oh,
You're not naked.
Yeah, I do my calisthenics.
oh my gosh. You guys, I have to go because I have to get the stuff ready for
Tonya.
the kids' birthday party. But I love you, Rick, and it's good to see you.
Tanya's got the I got us. Say bye to Fabiana.
Where's Fabiana at? Bye, Fabiana.
Or
See you. Thank you. I make it tea to Rick.
Fabiana is making tea.
It's
good to see you guys.
Awesome.
You guys look great.
Hey, it looks cold there.
It is cold.
Is
It's
that
very cold. No.
Okay. Love you guys.
It's like-
I gotta go.
Thank you, Tonya. Yeah, it's not like below 0, but it feels cold, like really cold. So and we had some snow the other day there too. We miss you.
Man, I haven't been back there for 4 years. 3 years, yeah.
2 or 3, 2 or 3 years, something like that.
Well, I'm getting to the point where we can just roll around before the seminar and do the volley judo punching again. Remember we did that was fun.
Yeah. When you punched me.
No. That was fun. We used to do that before the seminar. Rick and I would just get together for an hour and make sure nobody was allowed to come in, and we would just roll around, and it's a lot of pretty much mostly laughing, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, that was Erik laughing at my technique.
No, I was you kept doing the berimbolo stuff, so I was like, do you like the berimbolo stuff? Do you do a little bit?
I'm not very good at it, but I do like it. I think it's good. You just separate it, right? It's just part of for me, it's just some of the old school guys go, you don't like it, but I think it's okay. You know, as long as, like you said, I mean, you've always done everything. So you've always done it. So
I think for the younger guys and the kids.
Yeah.
I don't think like some of the older guys, they have stiff backs and necks and they're like afraid to go inverted.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, it's pressure.
For the younger kids, they love that stuff. I mean, we had a tournament, a local tournament at Brea Jiu-Jitsu, and there was a kid that was a blue belt, and he was beating black belts, and he was a berimbolo king. That was his bread and butter, and he would just sit there and bang, he hit a berimbolo, and he'd take everyone's back.
Wow.
What the heck? Because that's all he does all the time is just sits and works berimbolos.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Salo Ribeiro, maybe about 8-9 years ago, he got the Miao brothers in for a seminar. They were only purple belts at the time. But he said, I don't know the game, so I want to get them in. I thought that was really great that Salo would do that. At his level, right? It was great.
We would just sit and do the berimbolo, just berimbolo all the time. I kind of like it off the outside, the outside spiral leg hook, like the De La Hiva. Yeah. And kind of you back sweep and then berimbolo. I like that method. Or the back X sweep to the berimbolo. I like that.
I like it, but I'm not very good at it. Like that stuff I try, but usually it gets killed, But like you say, you have bread and butter stuff, but it's nice to kind of play around. And
I'm sorry, Rick. What about the leg entanglement, the dive rolls to the taking the back? Do you work much of that either?
More of like half guard. When you're doing the switch, you showed me like maybe 20 years. You showed me it, like when you have the hook from the top, roll, take the back, or you showed a long time ago from side control, like almost getting a twister position and then rolling off that. All that stuff that I'm not just saying it, but now everybody's like talking about it, and I'm going about like you've been putting out videos like from 97, 94, 95.
No, it's funny. Well, it's funny because now everyone's doing it and they're putting it on Instagram. Now every purple belt's an expert at all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed that COVID did to us is that just everybody now is an expert, and everyone posts their videos on reels with music. And, I'm watching guys go, look at this new move. And there was a dive roll knee bar. And I was like, really? Not even a hashtag for Sambo or Shooto or anything. It's like new Jiu-jitsu is a dive roll knee bar. The Victor Nagy. They're doing
a guy do that. But they don't, I don't think, I mean, I think some of them maybe just don't want to give credit, but some of them don't even know that really they haven't invented anything. You know, even Kashiwazaki said that, didn't he? He said, I never invented the Kashiwazaki roll. He said it's called Obitori Gishi. It's an old thing. It's Obitori Gishi. That's a Japanese term, as you know. And then they called it the Kashiwazaki roll because he did it all the time in competition, because he popularized it again. But he at least gave credit to it, which is what you do all the time, right? I mean, you give everybody credit. And I'm sorry?
Have to. But, you know, one thing I noticed is when you were teaching, when I was watching you teach your classes a long time ago, you would name the technique, the Japanese term, and then you would name the actual judoka that would use it. And you'd say so-and-so from Great Britain, so-and-so from Ukraine, so-and-so from Russia, so-and-so from, and you would give the name, you would give the technique, and you would say he did your historical knowledge of who used it, when they used it, how they used it, and the variations. That to me was really super amazing, because in America and in jiu-jitsu today, guys don't learn that stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's really important. That's what you taught me that too, you and Guru Dan and Sifu Larry, you know, because you can't kind of pretend that you've got it yourself, because it's always been there, right? You've just discovered it, or you've just got hold of it. And like that guy you're talking about with the dive roll, either he's doing it out of ignorance or he's doing it out of conceit. So one of the two, you know, that he thinks, okay, this is mine, even though I learned it of someone else, or he's not giving it. That's why, you know, when I look at some people right now, they're really popular, I won't name them, but they never give credit to anybody, ever. And I go, hold on, how about giving a bit of credit there? Well, I developed this, I developed that. But you got to learn it somewhere, right? You got to have seen it somewhere. And I think that's a huge thing, you know. And some of those guys that are coming out now, I don't know, you know, I just think there's a case of, like, it's a different way of learning now, right? There's so much information. Like when we came up, I mean, you were a sponge for stuff. I mean, I was always in awe of you, the way that you learned. And then I could learn 2 or 3 things from you and then take it back. But you were like a sponge for everything. I mean, it's amazing to watch the way you took it in. But now there's so much information, people are getting lost in it, right? Do you find that with your students, or do they come in and show you stuff? Or
no, guys, you've got enough stuff. I mean, we go through so much stuff. The biggest thing. So the biggest thing for our guys is the competition class that I created twice a week. I just said, if you guys are just going to come to the normal night class, I would expect you guys, none of you guys are ever going to compete. Not right now. But if you are planning on competing, you have to be in the it's a 45-minute competition class, and it's just, you just have to roll for 45 minutes. And they're in the cage separately while a normal class is going on. And then they'll be looking at our technique and go, no, don't worry about what we're doing. Focus on your roll time, because the pressure, that's what makes the piece of coal a diamond, is the pressure. Yeah. And the only way that you're going to turn into a beautiful diamond is if you push yourself and put, you know, the pressure. And that's when you get all this really cool stuff. And then you go, and it shrinks into a little paragraph. You got a big old page. You got all this. You look at all this stuff. It's like when I went to Japan the first time, I remember I literally was looking at books, watching videos before my first fight. And I had a list of all the things I was going to do to my opponent when I fought him. I had a list. Of like 45 things. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I had it all written down. And I fought, and I remember I looked at it and I go, shit, I only did 3 of the 45.
But that thing you're talking about, I remember, like, I've only been to Japan once, right? And that was back in 95. But I remember coming back, and the guy said they want to train hard. And I said, okay, we're going to have one class. It's going to be super hard training. So let's go. So I remember the first time, there was 18 people. I remember that. It was 18 or 19, maybe 19. And we started with 100 press-ups straight, 100. Let's go. 100 press-ups. We did squats, hit the pads really hard. Go for it. Let's go. Bam, 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 back and forth, no slacking. And then the next week, there was 9 people, 8 or 9. And the next week, there was 3. The next week, it was only me. And so, not that I'm a tough guy, but I was like, well, if you really want to train hard, really push it, you go to that extreme, then you really have to be prepared to put up with a lot of like pain, a lot of discomfort, a lot of, emotional stress and so forth. But it was only one class. And
you also have to learn how to be lonely, because you're the only one that wants to do that hard training. As long as you have one good training partner, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Just make sure that someone has the same mentality as you, and they'll always be there. That's your training partner.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about everyone else.
That's why when you saw the guys at the Edinburgh Club, right? You know, the guys up there were training super hard and every day, twice a day. You know, they were full-time professionals, of course, but really going through the ups and downs of competition, it makes it more, makes it more real, right? It makes it more like real. And as you've said already, you know, they're not doing that many techniques.
No,
you know,
no, especially when a little bit of warm up, a few drills, and then let's go for it. And I remember the first time, what did he say? Okay, we got 4 5s. 6 5s or 7 5s. 7 5s. The first 4 are 50. The second 2 are 70, and the last 3 are 100. And I was like, what does that mean? And you're like, the first 3 are 50% rolls. Then you go to 70%, and then you got 100%. Or, you know, the percentages. He was just naming numbers, and I was like, okay, we got 5 5, or what did he say? 8 5. We got 8 5s. And I was like, 8 5, 8 5-minute round. Oh, okay, 8 5-minute rounds. First 3 are 50. The second are the first next 2 are 75, and then the last are 100. And I just remember just going. And I remember one time Billy Cusack said, "Hey, I'm going to armbar everyone in the room today." And he was armbarring everybody, but I was like, I'm not going to get armbarred for anything. I'm going to defend as hard as I could. And that's how I learned his triangle.
Yeah.
He hit the reverse triangle on me. I'm like, I'm not giving him my arm. So he hit that reverse triangle. And it wasn't the initial bite. It was the rebite is what finished that. And that's what I learned the most from that was even when he went for an arm bar, he would catch it and he would tie off and cross his feet.
Yeah.
And then he would pull the elbow and then rebite and then take your arm. And it was that rebite. He did it on the triangle and he did it on the arm bar. And those are the 2 things I noticed the most, which separated him from normal people.
Yeah.
That's had to be where you got that from, him and Mark, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Billy trained with a Russian sambo judoka way back in the day. And he taught him the armbar, and he taught him quite a lot of stuff. And I think he had a real attacking mentality. He came to Edinburgh way back, like 40 odd years ago. And I think Billy trained with him and familiarized himself with the way he was doing it. And Kashiwazaki. He trained with Kashiwazaki.
Rick, tell the people who your 2, or you have more than 2, but your 2 main coaches. When I first met you, I got to watch the gripping class that Mark Preston did. Remember I was there with Seafood Larry? And when we were sitting outside like this, looking over the window like this, and it was probably the most amazing grip fighting class I'd ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, Mark's special. Yeah. Billy Cusack was, Mark was my first Sean Shanley was my first judo coach, my friend Sean. But then I started training with Mark privately, four privates, usually about 3 or 4 privates a week. And then he was teaching me like essentially Niwaza. And then he went on from there after about 3 or 4 years, going to the gripping, going to the throwing and stuff. My throw's terrible, but he always said, if you can out grip them, they can't throw you. So he said, instead of trying to learn, because as you know, Erik, that to be really good at throws, technical, like Japanese style throwing, is super hard for me anyway. I don't know about you, but for me, super hard. And to have that technique and that snap. But I said, you don't need that. He said, you just outgrip them so they can't throw you. So you don't need to learn the throws. You just need to outgrip them, take them to the ground, which was why Steve Gawthorpe was so successful, the British judo player, who was great on the ground, not so pretty terrible by international standards up top, but he would just drag them down, outgrip them and drag them down. And they hated it. They hated that he could do that, you know. So Mark was the one who really taught me the groundwork. And then the technical aspect, and he's seen me through to black belt. And then with Billy, as you already know, I'd start training with the team full time in the afternoon, not full time, but in the afternoon. I would go to the sessions in the afternoon, some at night, and train with them there. And then Billy, Graham Randall, who was world champion, as you know, David Somerville, Ewan Burton was coming up at that time. And so all those guys were great. Steve Vidler, all those guys were great for me because they're physical machines. And I was already in my 30s. So, I wasn't like in my peak, but it was really tough. As you know, just physically, it's just super hard. And although the sessions were only an hour, I mean, I remember Billy saying to me with Graham Randall, he said, it's the first one. This is at the end of the hour practice. He said, it's the first one to 6 taps. And we were both dead. And he said, let's see who's got the bite. Let's see who's got the go. He said, it's a war of attrition. Let's go. So really, as you know, it wasn't about the technique. It was just about who was mentally stronger.
Right.
And it was at the end of a session to say 6 taps. I mean, it was like a killer, I was dying, So it was that type of thing from Billy was great because Billy taught me a lot about the mentality behind the fight, and how even though the guy's technically better than you, if you're mentally stronger, you can break them. And I as you know, when I went with Billy, I remember Billy, we'd start the practice, and the first thing he'd say to me, we're just going to have a roll, essentially. And he said, who's going to break? Are you going to break today? He said, you're going to break. So he's trying to break me down mentally even before we started. And he puts the timer on 15 minutes. He said, you're going to break. I said, I'm going to break you in every way possible. I'm going to break you emotionally, mentally, and physically. And I'm like, thanks, Billy. And this is the start of a practice. So
you can never get that back. Like that, to learn from someone like that, and that's ingrained in you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, like you were saying in the beginning, Sensei, that when now the information is like an information overload, and really we're living in a nanosecond culture where people just want this, switch to the next one, don't even finish a video, don't finish a song, just go pop, 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 pop. Whereas back in
a text, even they don't even read a text.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, we talk about all. Yeah, exactly. And we and I think it's a balance, isn't it, between back in those days when information wasn't so available to now when everything's available, and that you have to get a balance. Where the guys in my gym asked me to go, what should I watch? I said, if you want to watch any videos, watch it on what we're doing in class. So if we're doing, I don't know, if we're doing the Victor Nagy, or we're doing anything like that, or we're doing snap downs, anything like that, then I say, watch that on YouTube. Just type it in. Somebody will be doing it. So as you're watching something that relates to what you're actually practicing, not something that's way out there that, I don't know, the Galaxy Guard or something that maybe you're not doing, So I think it's really important for that. So that information, if you use it smartly, then great. But if you're just kind of wandering around trying different stuff and you don't know how to do a Kesagatame, then to me, it doesn't really make that much sense. But maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. I just think that having that foundation that you had, and I think for you, a lot of people look at you and technically how advanced you are and you were and are, and they forget that your foundation is super strong in gymnastics, judo, your ability to move your body and your technical ability too, So I think if people could latch onto that instead of trying to get all these techniques, then it would make a big change to the way they approach it, At least that's the way I do it here, But so hopefully that's
great. Rick, tell everybody the most important grip when you're going for a throw. If you control you control everything.
If I control your head, that's one thing, a real one. But the gi,
isn't it the sleeve? If you control my sleeve, it's not it's a sleeve over the collar, right? Do you think?
I think that one of the best things I learned from Mark was that usually if you're right to right with someone in the gi, usually both of you go for the collar first, and then you both sleeve after. So that means you're in kind of like a stalemate. So you both got a collar, right? So as soon as you get the collar, they get the collar. If you get a sleeve, you can sleeve. And he said, no, he said, always grip the sleeve first. Kill the sleeve of the hand. So if they come out left-handed, you kill their left hand with your right. If they come out right-handed, you kill their right hand with your left. So now they can get their primary hand onto your. Now you've made them go left side. So you force them to go from their normal side to the other side, or vice versa. So when you, as you said, when you grip that sleeve, they can't do anything. And as we were saying earlier on, he said they can't throw you now. So you can grip the sleeve and pull guard. You can grip the sleeve and go for a single. You can grip the sleeve and, take the back, go to more European style judo, more, he called it kind of groveling judo, but you can do that. So I can't do the beautiful Japanese judo, but maybe go back to the Georgian style, or the Russian style, and going back to all that sort of stuff, where you're gripping the belt and you're taking the back and the Bodavellis and stuff like that. So I think
Bodavelli and overgrip, is that
overgrip? Yeah, overgrip. Yeah, a couple of Bodavellis, overgrip on the right and the left. Yeah, depending on Sumagish, and so. But I think that was one of the important things he said, to kill that sleeve, and that really helped me, especially in jiu-jitsu tournaments. Just killing the sleeve and not allowing him to get the grip, and also killing his sleeve stopped him from getting a shoot. Because as you know, my wrestling's terrible. So people would.
You've got great Scottish wrestling. Don't deny it. Yes, you do.
That Scottish means you get double legged all the time.
You were doing wrestling before all the guys were. Now everyone's going, hey, we should learn how to wrestle. And you're like, yeah, I've been there, done that.
I was around you, but I mean, I tell the guys all the time that story about when we were in it's a Hermosa Beach, Boxing Works. I think it was Hermosa Beach, right? And I said, we started and you were doing Vale Tudo sparring, just light. And I pulled butterfly guard on you and you kept punching me in the face. Light, you were being nice, you were punching me in the face. And I couldn't work out why I was getting punched in the face. And then you said, Rick, you're grappling. And I went, yeah, foot on the hip, foot on the thigh, keep away, keep distance. So as you're saying, that kind of testing, at least for me, was invaluable, because it was teaching me, my whole mindset was off for that type of thing. So I was into grappling so much, I wasn't paying attention to actually getting hit in the face, which was great.
That type of training is so much fun. You just put a little light pair of gloves. You don't hit too hard. You just tap each other a little bit. That's what's fun.
Exactly. You weren't hitting me hard at all. You were being super nice, and that was great. And that stayed. And that must have been about 95 or 97, something like that. It's a way back. And that stayed with me since, just that little lesson. I really don't remember the rest of the class. I mean, I'm sure it was fantastic, but I remember
the donkey punch. Remember the donkey punch? You were going for the knee bar. So I put your hips up.
Yeah. I love
it. I remember the look, your face. You looked at me in such shock, like, did you just punch me in the butthole? And I was like, the donkey punch, because when you go inverted, you don't know. You don't know if they're going to hit you in the kidneys, they're going to hit you in the butt, buttocks, batolio.
I was telling someone, I was doing the hammer punch in the kickboxing class, and I said, usually we're shooting here, we're throwing the jab, cross hook, the uppercut come in, all that stuff. And I said, it's all great. I said, but nobody has ever done this to me other than Erik, where you just go boing. And I said, he did it about 5 times. hammer punched me in the head. What do you call that? The hammer fist on the head.
We call it the kadoink.
The kadoink. But it was because it was so offline and so unexpected. I was just going, and I was sparring pros at the time. I remember that I was sparring pros. And I was like,
yeah, but you guys are all here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not like this. Dunk.
Yeah. I was kind of like the old English boxing, hands up and just kind of shooting from here. And then you were going bang. And I couldn't get my head around the fact that you were just hammer fisting me.
Sorry.
You entered with the kadoink.
Bob, how are you?
I'm doing good, Coach.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Bob and Mrs. Ellen Baker.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you.
Alan. Butch, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
Ellen just opened a new school and he wrote a book that's out on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's called, what's it called again, Ellen?
The Warrior's Path.
Warrior's Path. Chapter 1 is living in having a grateful mentality, the attitude of gratitude.
That sounds great. I'm gonna buy.
Oh, wow.
Butch, is that out now?
Yes, sir.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, Ellen secretly during lockdown wrote a book.
I think you wrote two of them.
Yeah, we're all mad. We're like, did Ellen write a book and not even say anything?
No, he wrote two books and didn't say anything.
I'm gonna write a book, but it's gonna be all pictures.
I feel
Those are
bad.
good books.
Just ate cakes and drank tea.
That's what I did.
Oh, if for me, for my mental health, I had to stay active. I had to do stuff. I was going, like each day, it literally was like Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
And some people were super productive. For me, more than anything, I was in the sun every day. And then I would go to the gym and get a boxing workout in with Mark Sells. And for me, that was good enough. Before we started rolling again. We quietly opened, just silently opened and shut all our doors, and we just all grappled. And then a few people got word. They're like, "Hey, are you guys open?" And I go, "No, we're not open." And it was like, at first it was all the black belts or the advanced guys. And then all of a sudden, "Hey, is it possible that I could come in?" I go, "You're a purple belt. You can't come in." And they're like, "What?" I was like, oh, all right. And then, we slowly reopened with due diligence. We tried. Everyone's like, "Oh, we should wear a mask." And I go, "Have at it." So they all wore a mask on the floor. It lasted one day. Everyone's masks were soggy. They're sideways. Everyone's just ripping them and throwing them off. And I go, if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. If you don't, the biggest thing is just getting your doing your due diligence, getting your wet clothes off, jumping in the shower, get out in the sun for a half hour, get your vitamin D, get your zinc, make sure your immunity is super high, make sure you're laughing and loving every day. And if you have love and laughter, everything else, aside from the fact that you're staying healthy, with your diet and everything, I think that's what will kind of stop you from getting really sick. Now, Ellen got it. Did you get sick, Rick? Did you get it?
The only time I got sick was after the shots.
Oh, wow.
So after 2 weeks after each shot, I got sick. But other than that, Fabiana was onto vitamin D right away, and so we and I think the government's never stressed that enough, right? Just getting, like you say, getting some healthy food, getting some salad.
Get the vaccine. Don't worry about your health. Just get the vaccine. And I was like, you guys should be promoting our health too.
They should have. I said over here, what they should have been doing is reduce the price of all salads, all greens, really made it available to everybody, So instead of spending billions on like these vaccines, I'm not saying the vaccines are totally bad, by the way, but spending billions on that, why not spend some money on at least allocate some of the money to fruit and veg, to make sure people get vitamin D free, like you say, zinc, turmeric, all this stuff is going to help their immune system. But they never, at least over here, I don't know what it was like in the States, but they never said that, and I thought, this is crazy, because you're taking it as a standpoint, hide, and then everything will be okay. It'll just pass. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. I really don't understand it. For us, we tried to get out as much as possible. I mean, we were walking along the beach with it was pretty much empty, babe, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much empty at the beach just down the road from us. And it was illegal, but nobody was here. It was like in the morning, and they go, oh, you can't do that. And I'm thinking, the nearest person is 300 meters away. I ain't going to catch anything from them. We got out of the car, beach. We got the dog. We don't touch anybody. We're not within 100 meters of anything. It was crazy. Yeah. And I feel for those people that were locked in all the time, really terrible time. And
the Italians got it really bad, I know. Italians.
The Italians, yeah.
Spain too. I know Spain did too.
Yeah.
Bob got it. Alan was all over the world, didn't care about anything. He was everywhere. Then he got vaccinated, and then he got COVID. Is that how it went, Alan?
Well, I had it twice, and then I got the vaccine in order to travel more.
Bob got everything. Bob actually got all of our boosters for us, so he took all.
I got all the shots. I had a little reaction though, like for one day, like I felt bad for like one day.
So how many shots have you had?
3. I got the 2 vaccines and then the booster. That's it. They're saying that's it. But I got a stomach bug about a month ago. Like regular stuff is around too. I got a stomach bug that I lost 10 pounds in a day.
But I have to say, I've had 3 people that got a stomach virus, and they were saying that it could be a byproduct of what's going out there.
I don't know. It's just like it went around here. Like everybody kind of caught it. It was like when you get the flu or something. It had nothing to do with COVID, but and it was way after my shots.
Bob will never eat sushi again for another year.
It was right after I ate. This is gross. It was right after I ate sushi, so I won't go into it. But and I usually love sushi, but I'm kind of off it right now.
When you puke raw fish out your nose, you're kind of off sushi for a little while.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Wow, that's horrible. That's he's still super busy.
Always. Erik brought 80 VHS tapes and about 60 DVDs. We were at Pat Trey's last month, and every day that's running. That's a lot of what you're seeing. Sensei Paulson post with the all that stuff on Instagram.
Just found a ton of old Larry Hartsell footage that I filmed. I filmed a clinching and hitting tape with Larry, and the camera was shaky, and he would look off or he was too quiet. So I was like, you know what? I don't think we can use this, and nobody's ever seen it.
Yeah.
He had some of the coolest like he would grab my neck. He goes, "What would you do here?" And I was like, and so we're like half JKD, MMA, boxing, everything. And I did a bunch of stuff with them, and we did like 5 or 6 different really cool drills. Unfortunately, it was filmed so badly that it's not really usable, so we didn't do anything with it. But the footage was great, and it was Seafood Larry. I still feel like he's still around, after watching.
Yeah. I mean, I'd never seen that before, and you look super sharp because you must have been fighting around that time, right?
It was 98, I think 97 or 98, and I just got done fighting, so I was like really angry. I remember because we were trying to choreograph stuff, and he kept looking at the floor because that was his nature. He would just be really quiet, and he'd look at the floor, and I go, "Larry, you got to look at the camera." And then he'd look at the camera, and he was talk so softly because that was his nature. He wasn't loud and obnoxious. That's why everyone loved him. He was such a sweet, huggable, lovable guy until he'd rip an overhand and then, you know, maybe a punch out, a finger lock or something.
I miss, and it's like one of those. That set off a lot of memories for me when I saw him holding pads for you. That was really great, beautiful, really killed. So you got more footage to come out of you and
There's
Larry.
so much stuff. Like I'm in heaven. Like it's great. I just captured the alternate angle for the leg locks tape, the overhead angle.
Oh, that was Joel. That was Joel and the guy named Brock. He was Hickson's purple belt. And that was those two. I created something I call Leg Wars, which is today they call it 50-50.
Right.
You have my ankle, I got your ankle, ready, go. And I said, okay, we're going to do Leg Wars. And I go, you got Joel's leg, he's got your leg. You guys ready? And action.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we have a ton of raw footage. And then I have some footage of Chris Waters. I was doing knee bars on him. I was like, who is this tall, bald guy? He's super tall. I go, that's Chris Waters. Because he was like 6'5" or 6'6", right?
Yeah, he's a tall guy, yeah. Wow, great memories. Yeah, that's fantastic. But great as well, because when you look at the stuff that's coming out now, which is great, but it's really important, I think, for people to realize that it's not, because everybody, guys come in and like they do a heel hook and they go, have you seen this? I'm thinking, well, you think you've invented a heel hook, you know? Really? Seriously? You know? And
you know where the heel hook came from?
Don't know.
So I asked Sayama when I was in Japan, I said, can I ask you, like, historically where everything comes from? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. So most of the throws come from judo, Japanese jiu-jitsu, sambo, and wrestling, mostly pro wrestling, but which was wrestling. And I said, okay, what about the knee bar? He goes, oh, that's sambo. And I go, the Achilles lock. He goes, the Achilles lock was sambo, but also catch wrestling. And I said, what about the toe hold? He goes, catch wrestling, which was Carl Gotch. And then I said, what about the heel hook? And he goes, oh, the heel hook. That's from Ivan Gomes from Brazil. And I go, what? Ivan Gomes was a luta livre, jiu-jitsu, judo, pro wrestler. And when he went to Japan, none of the Japanese knew the heel hook, and he showed them the heel hook. So where did he learn the heel hook? From luta livre in Brazil. Isn't that crazy? The heel hook came to Japan from Brazil.
Well, that's great, because then you've got multinational, right? You've got Russia, the sambo, you've got Japan, of course, you know, the judo, and then you've got catch can, you've got the Wigan, you know, and then England, and then you've got Brazil, you know, and anything else that's in there, you know, then, you know, it's so diverse, right? And then put it all together. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
What was cool was that Shooto came from a pro wrestling background. And so all these pro wrestlers from all over the world were competing. The Germans and everyone were coming in to compete throughout all the years. And then it wasn't until the 30s that the acrobatics and the gimmicks came in. It was 100% real pinning and submission up until the 30s. And then when the 30s, they're like, hey, you guys, we're not making any money. We have to travel and do all these carnivals just to get by. Like Count Koma Maeda, he was a catch wrestler. He was a carnival wrestler. That's how he made a living. He had over 1,000 matches. A lot of people don't know that. I told people, they go, no, he's a judo jiu-jitsu guy. I go, and a catch wrestler, which is a carnival wrestler from back in his day. And that's where he made his money. And it's what was interesting is in the 30s when the gimmicks came out and people had their own move and they were notorious for their own move, that became a big deal. And that's how it started becoming more professional. And then they would have matches where, you know, these guys had nicknames. Each one had a nickname, like Luthaz, Ed Strangler Lewis. Everybody had some sort of nickname, and which a lot of times was their gimmick. So your gimmick might have been the Scottish titty twister or something. I don't know. Just whatever it is.
Well, so how did Billy Robinson get in that?
Billy Robinson was wrestling in Wigan under Billy Riley, and then Billy Riley started teaching. Because a lot of those guys back then were carnival wrestlers, and they would have to compete. So you could win by submission, or you could win by pin. And so a lot of the submission holds were only to manipulate someone to move enough in order for them to pin them.
Wow.
They called them punishment holds. They weren't called submissions. They were punishment holds. And they're like, oh, he got the punishment hold on his hip.
Yeah.
You know, oh, he's face crank. Oh, he's got the face crank. He's not tapping. And then he'd turn him over and he'd pin him. So it was stuff like that. It was interesting. So the pin, like today, the pin is in submission tournaments isn't valuable, and nobody acknowledges the pin. But in the old days, the pin, you could win by pin or submission. And what I was saying is that these guys were all cross training, and from what Billy had told me, that the train station was right next to, it was right by the railroad track. So people were getting off the trains and showing up at all times of the day, morning, noon, and night. He said the gym was open 24 hours a day.
Wow.
He said it wasn't very big, but people were getting off and they would come in from everywhere. He said Italians, he said Germans, the Japanese. He just said people from all over would come and show up there because they knew that there was a lot of really good wrestlers there. And most of it was based off of wrestling, and then they would show a few submission holds.
Wow. And so how did Billy Robinson get to Japan? Did Carl Gotch go to Wigan, or what was the...
Carl Gotch went to Wigan. Carl Gotch's name wasn't actually Carl Gotch. It was something else. He was from... he's originally from Belgium. But then he was in Germany for a while too. And I think he became the German champion. And then when Frank Gotch died, Frank Gotch was trained and competed against Farmer Burns. And Frank Gotch was considerably bigger, but Farmer Burns was so strong and his health was so great. He actually created a training. He was the godfather of catch wrestling from the late 1800s, but he had a conditioning program that was so good that all different sports used to use the Farmer Burns conditioning program for baseball and football and all the other sports.
The one that Matt Fury used to talk about, was that the same thing, or was that
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Combat conditioning he did came from, so one thing that Carl Gotch did is he went over to India to learn something called the Paleway. And the Paleway wrestling, they implemented the use of the Hindu, the slider push-ups, the Hindu squats, the slats where they do the push-ups on these slats, these things that were rings. They had like bells. They were like ching, 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 and they used to wave them above and then they had all the kettlebells, not kettlebells, but the pins, they're called Indian pins. They also used the pole. There's a stiff pole that they would climb up and do all these exercises. And so Carl Gotch went there to learn that. He wanted to learn the Indian wrestling method, like from the Great Gama. The Great Gama was a famous champion over there. And he went over to India to learn the exercises, and then he did those exercises every day. That was one of his things. He did all the push-ups, all the dips, all the handstand push-ups. And that's what Matt Fury went to learn from Carl Gotch before Carl Gotch passed, and he got that training routine from him. It was all his bridging exercises. And that was one thing, is Carl Gotch said, if you don't have a bridge, I'm not teaching you anything. So you had to have a good bridge.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. This guy said, hey, you want to see my bridge? I go, not really. And he goes, no, let me show you my bridge. I go, why do you want to show me your bridge so bad? He goes, because it was a most important thing to Carl Gotch. And I go, all right, show me your bridge. I said, wow, you have a bridge like a gymnast, because he would come up on his hands, and I go, we were taught to bridge and put our foreheads and our nose out to the mat. But, on the flip flops and all the neck exercises, which I think to this day, it deteriorated the tip of my neck. And I think that my vertebrae, because of all the neck body weight exercises I did, it ate away at my vertebrae.
Wow. Yeah,
because you're putting all your weight on your head, we had to hold two people on our stomachs while we're holding a bridge, and I said, what's the long-term effects to these bridges like this, with Chad and Damon sitting on me?
You'll be fine.
Quick.
Yeah, you're good.
Quick, get a picture. Get off me. Right?
I mean, you're taking all stress. All that stress is like focused totally pretty much on your neck, right? I know you're bridging off your feet, but totally. I mean, it just mechanically, it's just not sound, is it? Not a good thing.
Yeah, like we had flip flops on our heads. We had to do a flip flop on our, and I said, I truly am telling you right now, I do not believe that this is good for you.
Yeah.
You hold their hand and they do flip flops.
Yeah.
On their head. And I go, I still don't think that that's good. I think the neck strengthening exercises are great, but I really think all the compact and all the stuff on your neck is in the long run, it's not good.
Yeah, I think you can strengthen your neck without putting that much pressure on your neck.
And I can attest to it, because I had 2 vertebrae removed and I had five discs. I had 3 herniated and 5 attached or fused in the back, because my neck, it's from all those exercises that we did.
How's your neck?
How's
your? Oh no, you look great. I mean, you look.
I'm a little stiff, but I mean, I'm active, and when I turn, look.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
really?
my neighbor, he had his neck fused 30 years ago, and when he turns, he has to turn his whole body. So, like, he looked at me, he goes, "You got a stiff neck?" And I go, "Kind of." And he goes, "Why?" And I go, "Well, I had surgery." He goes, "Can you move your head without your shoulders?" And I go, "Yeah, look." And he goes, "Well, you're lucky. Watch this." And he was like, and some people, they got their neck fused like that. And I'll tell you something. The thing I noticed the most about the neck is it affected my legs, my balance. My balance is still not great, but that's why I started kickboxing again. I finally started kicking after a year of boxing. I said, "Hey, let's start kicking a little bit." And Mark said, "Can you kick?" And I go, "Let me try." And it's just the strength and the balance in the legs. All I have to do is, if you slap me in the face, I will get adrenaline and I will kick you in the head. But other than that, to kick someone in the head normally right now, they have to be laying on their back. Like if you're asleep on the beach and you mouth off, I could kick you in the head easily.
We were having a talk about that before you came on, Coach Rick.
We're talking about self-defense. Like you're in a weightlifting gym. Like I was at Gold's Gym and I had 3 little smartasses jump in my space, and then I said, "Hey, can you move?" I'm in the process of doing a triple set with the thighs. I was doing quads, hammies, and calves, and this kid sat on the calf machine. This 22-year-old kid, and I go, "Excuse me, could I have 2 more sets on the calf machine?" He goes, "Hey, you're all the way over there. You walked over here." He said, "No, this is my space." He goes, "Get out of here, old man." And I was like, yeah, I just kind of like laughed going, okay, what do I do? Wow. Do I lose my shit? Normally I would lose my shit. Or do I just laugh it off, or do I grovel? These 3 little smartasses They look like they're football players, and they're kind of smart, you know. And what I should have done, not slapped him off the machine. I should have karate chopped him in the neck off the machine. That way it would have dropped him, and then the other two would have seen his buddy laying on the floor, slack-jawed, drooling. Then I could have just kicked him in the shins as hard as I could.
That would have worked.
Yeah. And then grab their hair and then put their heads together.
I think Eric's writing Nobody Part 2.
I'm just telling you right now, like I've had stuff like that. I had a guy in a grocery store that wouldn't move his cart, and I was like, "Hey, excuse me, I need to get by." He goes, "No, you can wait." And I was like,
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's what I think these are. They're tests. I think sometimes God sends you tests to see how you're going to fare and deal with a normal situation. With a certain skill that you have, here's a certain skill, I'm going to give it to you. What are you going to do about this? Here, let's do this. Let's put this one and that one. Let's see how he fares.
And during a no-win situation, because, you know, if anything happened, I mean, you don't want to get involved in a fight anyway if you don't need to, but if you get involved in a fight and you slap someone, if it went to court, they only bring up your CV, Erik Paulson, world shoot fighting champion, legend.
They wouldn't even know. I would spell my name wrong. I was spelling it with a C. E-R-I-C-H. Erik Paulson.
But you can't win, because if you went in court, you'd be like, oh, look at this poor guy, and this master of martial arts has slapped him, you know?
There's three of them. There's one of me. They're half my age.
Yeah, even then.
But it's you.
Three of them. There's one of little old me. Little old me. You got three young football players. They're going to pick on little old me. I just wanted to work my little bitty calves.
Yeah, that might work. That might happen.
I was in the steam room afterwards, just stewing, like, what I could have done. I drew out like 20 scenarios those were all fight scenes. Those would have been great fight scenes for movies.
I was watching you in Bloodsport 4 because that clip came up again. That's great.
It did?
Bloodsport 4, yeah. When I forget, right? You start snapping people.
Stelio.
Yeah, you had the long hair. It was great. Is that one you done in Venezuela or somewhere?
That was in Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. Oh, okay.
Sri Lanka was fun, but the Tamil Tigers were coming. They were terrorists that were loading buses full of explosives, and they were coming through the jungles, and we were shooting in the jungles. And they go, we just want to let you guys know the odds of us possibly dealing with a bomb are very high. And I was like, oh, great. Sri Lanka. It's funny. It's a 24-hour plane ride from America to Sri Lanka. And when I got there, after all this travel, it's like, and you get there and all of a sudden it smells like oil. And you wake up in the morning and it smells different. The air smells of oil. You know, their gasoline, they don't have like catalytic converters. They barely have mufflers on their cars and their motorcycles. I go downstairs and it's all bright and sunny. I walk outside and there's a guy sitting out front playing a flute and a cobra's coming out of a basket like this, like for real. It was a snake charmer. And he had a little dish out for money. And then there was a crazy monkey in the tree that was throwing coconuts at people. I was like, is that a monkey? They go, yeah, he's a culprit. He's throwing coconuts at people. And then I was like, that's weird. And then all of a sudden a guy rides right past me on an elephant, right down the middle of the road. And I was like, where am I?
Strange.
Surrounded by all these little kids. All the little Indian kids came out and they're like, candy. And I was like, oh, no candy. And I had my windbreaker on. And all of a sudden I went for a run around the lake. And I turn around and all these kids have their school books and they were chasing me. They were following me. And I was like, what the heck? I felt like Muhammad Ali when he was running in Africa. Get all the kids chasing him. And all these kids were chasing me. And I go, why are they chasing me? And they go, because you're different. You have blonde hair. They've never seen blonde hair.
That's amazing. Did you like Sri Lanka? Was it a nice place, apart from the smell?
The people, they have such nice hearts. But, I could see where there's corruption because they exploit each other to make money. But a lot of them have nothing. And I've never seen people that have nothing be so happy. They were just content that they're alive. And I've seen little kids carrying other little kids like a 1-year-old in diapers with snot running down their face, and their mom lets a little kid like run around with their little kid, and it was like
it's amazing,
just the whole thought is so different, and a lot of people were there because they do yoga, and that's like a yoga capital. I was in Kandy. It was super nice there. Chad was there, Brad, Dave, all the stunt guys. It was a fun time.
Wow, that's really cool. Was that before Baywatch or after?
After. That was after. Yeah. Baywatch. It was all of them. It was definitely all of them.
Those are special headshots.
Yeah. There's a lot.
So what are you doing now, Coach, with the academy and stuff, with the gym? Is it going well? What was after COVID? So how's that affecting you?
So we're open and thriving again. The kids classes are off the hook. Because a lot of kids are homeschooled, and the kids just need an outlet. So it's packed. And Trent and Tonya are so good with the kids. And then Jake's girlfriend, Alandra, she helps out. And we got little kids, we got little kids, we got the 4-year-olds, the 5-year-olds, and then the 6, 7, and 8, and then the kids are the 10 and 12-year-olds are in the adult classes. So we have a whole group of kids that are in the adult classes now that want to compete regularly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What are the classes? Are they kickboxing or jiu-jitsu or CSW? What are they?
All. It's our jiu-jitsu class right now is our biggest class. I think it's good that it's their biggest class because it creates a longer period of time for people to stay at the gym to train because of the belt factor.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get a belt, we all came from the no belt era. Hey, should we wear no, it's no belt. We pride ourselves on no belt. But the belt is a big factor because everyone wants to get a belt in jiu-jitsu. And it is true. I could give a coach certificate in the no-gi stuff. It's not the same. They go, what is this equivalent to in a belt? I was like, oh, you got your coach certificate. Yeah, but what belt would that be? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I had a guy at a seminar. He's a black belt I think he's under Henner now, but he was under Danny Suarez. He was on Chris Montez. He's out of New York. And Chris said, is your coach a black belt? And I said, coach level 1 is not a black belt. It's a high blue to low purple. I would equivalent. It's more than blue, but it's less than a full purple belt. And then the coach level 2 is definitely a brown to black belt level. Coach level 2, and then the coach level 3 originally was all of it, and then it was MMA. But Bob and I have been doing an MMA curriculum. We've been writing for the last how long, Bob?
Months,
just dumping tons and tons and tons of stuff. We've already got the level 1 done. Working on level 2. The STX kickboxing. We've decided that we're going to keep the levels 1 to 5, and we're going to try to redefine it and make it easier to teach. But then we're going to add levels 6 through 10, and level 6 through 10 is going to be shoot boxing, which is punching, kicking, and throwing. And then we are bringing out the Shooto. We're bringing the Shooto back, but I had a head splitting dream the other day that it should be all grappling and not the old curriculum, because if we do the old Shooto curriculum, that would mean that you would have to have Shooto classes. You'd have to be doing the kickboxing and the takedowns and the throws, and you'd have to be doing that. And I said, well, what if I created a Shooto curriculum that was just all catch wrestling from Shooto, all the grappling stuff that they use against a kicker, a puncher, a double leg, a single leg, all the turtle position stuff, all the combinations 1 through 10, which is approximately 150 submissions. What if we put that into a curriculum and called it the Shooto catch wrestling curriculum? I don't know.
Do you want it? Would it be good to put the 1 through 10 on just do the 1 through 10, the shoot lock flows?
Yeah, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more, like the turtle position attacks, Cusack attacks, which is all just catch wrestling by itself. And then you have the catch wrestling versus the kicker, catch wrestling versus the plum.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It's all the kick, catch, takedown to the leg attack, or the drop seonage to the arm attack. Basically, our demo at Birmingham, Rick. That was a good demo. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Considering we never really practiced, that was okay.
That was why it was so good.
Yeah.
That was a good demo.
Yeah,
we just got there and just did whatever.
Yeah,
they didn't know.
That was really cool. So what do you think? Because someone was asking me the other week about the teaching method in jiu-jitsu, like position before submission, pass the guard, tight control, mount, back mount, finish, going from there, as opposed to catch. Do you think catch has got a different methodology in the way that they're is it position before submission, or just go for the submission?
I will tell you that the Shooto had 14 positions: crossbody, Keisagatame, crossbody, lower body control, and then you lower body control from the back, crossbody from the back, head and arm from the back, mount position, north and south, Keisagatame. So they taught 14 different positions. So it was a position lock flow, or not lock flow, position flow.
But was that first? Was that before the locks?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Erik taught the positioning before anything, and then the thing that I got from jiu-jitsu was the escapes, the transitions, how to get out of everything. That was big. The big thing was the defense. How do you get out of side control? How do you get out of mount? How do you get out of north and south? How do you pass the guard? How do you sweep? How do you keep the guard? That was like the transition, and then the attacks and everything. I think at first it was all separate, and then they kind of about 96, 7, 8 things started to merge together, and I could understand the positioning a whole lot better, pass the guard, and then attack from the side more. And then now you've got all the different half guards and butterfly guards and worm guards and stretch guards and scissor side half guard and butterfly half guard. And, if you start naming.
How do you feel about that stuff? Do you try and keep up with it, or do you think you've already got, huge
scissor side, the Z guard, scissor side half guard. The worm guard I don't do. I don't do the worm guard.
Yeah, I don't even know what the scissor side is. I don't know what that is. Scissor side.
The Z guard is a scissor side half guard.
Z guard. Okay, right. Okay.
You just cross your feet. You can just put it. It's a shin shield.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Is a term, because they're using so many different terms now. Sometimes you look at it, it's like, barbed wire. Someone asked me if I knew what barbed wire was. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because I showed it to you. The barbed wire is just, you reach across, and if you're on the side, you reach and you grab their far elbow, 2 hands on the elbow, and you turn them.
Well, that's another term then, right? Because someone told me barbed wire was when the guy's on his back and he has his arm protecting his arms. So his arms are like this, crossed.
Okay.
I don't know, but it's a term. ask me, do you know this? Do you know this? And they give me a name, and I don't know it. So.
Oh yeah, that's barbed wire. I mean, that could be called barbed wire, but that's like if you are going for my arm and I do that, that's the highest level of defense.
Right. Yeah.
Defense would probably be this or this, right?
Yeah.
This, and then you go. This is I think the best, probably the highest level is the I Dream of Jeannie position. I Dream of Jeannie. Yes, master. Ding, ding. Oh.
Doesn't Jay Martinez have a good lockdown from there? Something like that?
Yeah. Higgin was ripping people's arms out from here. And I said, could you try to rip Jay's arms out? He goes, normally I could, but not this guy. Because Jay has strong 5 arms.
Wow.
No, he's got tendon, really strong tendons. His radial is really strong. He doesn't have strong biceps. He's got strong radial, so he's good at pulling. Everything's
wow. Is that natural or
like you? No, he's like you. He's like a gibbon. He could swing through a tree with one arm. It's like your arm. You got those gibbon arms.
Yeah, I wish.
You got the extra tendon like Helio had in his forearms. I'm sorry, his 5 arms.
It's like Alan Baker. He can scratch his knees without bending over.
Yeah, Alan's a knuckle scraper.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize how long my arms were until I punched Mark Sells in the face 10 times, and he couldn't even touch my face.
Really long arms.
I was watching you do the liver shots, about 5 different shots, and I went, man, your arms are really long. Because your angulation was great, but I was thinking, man, you're really, the way you were just coming up.
It's true. I didn't realize, I started looking going, I got long arms. And then I didn't realize how long my arms were until Bob showed me a video of me in 1986 in my garage, and it looked like 2 pieces of spaghetti hanging out of my T-shirt. My arms hung down to my knees.
Yep.
But it was all the same. It was the size of my wrist all the way up.
I haven't even sent you some of those. You were really young in some of these. I mean, you look like a teenager. I can't believe how far back some of these go. Yeah, it's great.
Really great to see. Yeah. So are you going to put those on the site, or?
Right now we're kind of archiving them, and Erik will go in and look at them. I've got them in a private archive, and Erik goes in and looks at them and kind of films them and puts them on Instagram and stuff. But I'm going to do a formal edit of them literally there's hundreds of them. So it's going to, we've got other stuff we're focusing on with curriculum and stuff, but on the side, I want to go back through all this old stuff and kind of bring it in.
There's so much cool stuff that I have. I just hope that there's no videotapes of that you shouldn't be seeing, Bob.
Yeah, that only happened once.
From the old days, from the old house.
Yeah. We won't talk about that one.
From the bartending days. Just kidding.
Those are non-recording stories, Coach.
That's great.
That's
so you're
awesome.
Busy. So Academy's busy. Everything's going well. Have you seen Guru recently?
Yeah, I talk to him every Sunday. I call Guru every Sunday. We talk for 1 to 4 hours. And then I go up there once a week. I try to see him once a week. I've been going up to Ajahn Chai's. I've been going to Ajahns and massaging his ankle and his back a little bit.
Nice.
Because he's in a little bit of pain. So I've been going over, and we go and I will rub Ajahn for an hour or 2, and then Guru and I will do some prayers. We will all pray together, and then for healing, and then we do and then we go to lunch and we tell some stories. And my favorite is when they sit and they go, I'm getting it today. Oh, no, I got it. Sit down. I got it. No, I got it. And then I walk around the back of them and I hand them my card.
Nice.
And we sit down, and all of a sudden, here comes the tab, and I go, "That's my card, thank you." And they're like, "Geez," and I go, "Guru, you know, you should get an Academy Award for your acting." Oh, geez, I can't believe you got it. You got it. First of all, they go, "Yeah, but you came down and worked on John." I go, "But so what?" I said, "Why can't I sit with my teachers and buy my teachers some lunch? I should be able to do that. And you guys shouldn't be ashamed or sad. You should say yes. Maybe you're not expecting it, but you know, at least you understand that, hey, that's okay that happens more frequently than not." You know, I mean, think about it. Just think about, like, if you had a chance to sit down with Guru Dan and you sat and watched him pull his card out to buy you lunch, which he does all the time anyways. You know, if like when we're older, we can afford to buy lunch for Guru and for Ajahn. You know, when we were a young kid, we were so poor, we couldn't even pay attention.
Yeah. And whether you've been out for lunch with them 100 times or once is such a privilege, right? It's just such, you know, I have to pinch myself. It's been a while, but when I go out with them, it's like, wow, this is Guru Dan Asano. This is my hero, you know.
This is a big deal.
And it's a big deal every time. Whether, you know, how many times this happened, it's a huge deal. Yeah. It's just such a and the same for, you know, when I'm with you, when I was with Hartsell, you know, it's the same thing. You know, it's like, it's such a great opportunity, you know, to be there. And I miss you because I haven't seen you for how long now? What, 2 years since you came?
Yeah, it's been a while. Has it been 2 years? Or oh yeah, it has. After I got out, I got
right, because we kind of lost. Yeah, 2 years. It was 2019, I think. Yeah. Was it 2019, babe? Yeah, 2019. Yeah, that you came. So that's like almost 3 years this November. It'll be 3 years. It's crazy how time goes by. And I think the COVID thing, it threw me off for about a year because like it's like nothing happened for a year.
Or, you were MIA. I was texting, but to no avail. I was getting crickets. It was cricket. I was like, "Hey, where's Rick?" I sent you like 20 really cool things, thinking you would give me one response and nothing.
No.
I was like, man.
No more crickets. I'm on it.
Here, I have to tell everybody. So anybody that's watching this, if I've sent you 5 good text messages on Messenger or Instagram and you haven't responded to one or sent me anything back in return, those days are limited. Yeah, because like I was thriving off those conversations. Like I would open my phone and to me, it wasn't turning on the TV and watching news. It was reading everyone's posts, sending me cool stuff back.
I'm sorry. I'm a bad person and I'm sorry.
I just didn't know. I didn't know what the current events were in Scotland. I was really sad, disheartened.
We were we were fine. I'm going to reply. I'm going to send you videos all the time.
Thank you. I don't know if Iron Brew is still the drink of choice over there or not.
I can't even, like, I could barely get on the live chat here. It took me ages to get this. Never mind cut and paste a link for you that you've probably seen 100 times, you know, so, you know, I'm going to send you a copy of something that you understand or you've seen. So,
hey, Rick, is the Edinburgh Judo Club still exist?
It exists in a different form. Billy's got it. I don't know. I think they were going to move there where it was before. It's in the same road, but maybe a mile down the road.
Oh,
so it's still there, and I think it's still going well. But someone told me the building's going to close down. They're going to move again. But the Edinburgh Club is still going. Yeah, with Billy. I think Billy's teaching. I'm not sure.
What about George Kerr? George Kerr? You ever see George?
George sold his place. He had a new place. He sold that, and I think he's still teaching kids out there.
Oh,
he's still kids. And then like June Burton is going to get the British team manager job, I think, eventually, pretty soon. And there's a new place just beside the airport, beside Edinburgh Airport. It's called Ratho Climbing Centre. It's got a huge dojo there. So that's where the national team train.
Wow.
So so it's a made for the athletes kind of place. So they go and train there. But the Edinburgh club's still going. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I saw Mark a couple of weeks ago too. Mark Preston. He's doing really well. He's doing great. He had it was tough through COVID for him, of course, with the judo, being off. But he's really cool. He's doing good now. And I haven't trained with him in a long time, but it's good. The last time I saw him was when he did the thing on your camp here. He did the session here and Burton and George came along, so that was nice,
Who taught with Mark? It was Mark and who else?
Mark just came himself, and he used the guys for the gripping and stuff. He was talking about gripping and done a lot of gripping stuff. And then Ewan came along, was talking about coaching, how to coach.
What was Ewan's last name?
Burton.
Okay.
B-U-R-T.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, Ewan Burton is one of the best judo players ever to come out of Britain. And Ewan beat Travis Stevens 3 times. And and Travis Stevens said in an interview with Budo videos, they said to him, if you could go back and do anything again, what would you do? He said, I'd like to fight Ewan Burton again.
Wow.
He said, I could, because Ewan used to out-grip him.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And it's like when Ewan fought Flavio Canto, we were talking about mentalities. When Flavio Canto, if anybody doesn't know, that he was one of the best Niwaza players in the world. He's a fantastic player, Olympic bronze medalist, world medalist, fantastic, from Brazil. And everybody was afraid of Canto's groundwork. So they would never want to go to the ground with him. So when Ewan Burton was going to have a match with Canto, Ewan said to Billy Cusack, he said, what should I do? And Billy said, take him to the ground. And he said, you're kidding. He said, that's where he's strongest. He goes, take him to the ground because nobody takes him there. He takes them there, but nobody takes him there. He said, you take him there, and then he's behind. And so Ewan did that, took him at the ground. It's on YouTube, actually, the fights and the matches. And Canto didn't want anything to do with him, got back up. It was really interesting. The mental shift from, saying, okay, I don't want to get involved in the ground, to saying, actually, go, take him there. And for those that don't know, Ewan Burton's got strong groundwork anyway, but I thought it was interesting to take him there. And then he beat Canto twice. Yeah, he beat Canto twice. So, yeah, amazing. That mentality, the different shift and the way you view things,
Rick, do you practice the Canto choke? I know there's a bunch of variations of it.
I don't know. I mean, I learned it as the Neil Adams choke, the snap around, leg over, like lasso choke, kind of snap around. I learned that as the Adams choke. I know that Canto has a bunch of variations, but I'm not sure that I know them. I'm not really that familiar with them.
Like a cross grip from the guard, and then he brings his leg over your head and under your far armpit, right?
Yeah, that was like an old one. I think I see Ogano did that. I think that's in his book, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying evolved as Canto. I think Canto's probably taken it, can evolve. It's more evolved, but I know it wasn't old. The other one, like from the guard, the snap around the leg over, Adams did. Yeah, and So I haven't seen the rest of the stuff.
Have you seen the Collier brothers? Collier. Those are the kids that were put on my thing.
Yeah, incredible, man.
They do a ton of the Canto chokes on their Patreon channel. They have a Patreon channel, and they have a lot of the stuff, but they do they like the Canto choke stuff. It's interesting. Wow. It's hard to see because it's not, they're doing it, but they're not teaching it. They're just doing it. So you're like looking, going, what did he just do? But tell Alan how a lot of the judokas from all over used to come to Scotland, and they'd watch Mark and Billy and your guys some of the throws you do, and they go, what throw is that? You'd say, oh, it's Ryagoshi or whatever, and they'd go, what? I've never seen it, like, because it was so different.
It was different because because Billy used to go to Tokai University in Japan, and he trained with Kiki. So he had like a classical kind of Japanese, along with the Russian guy, I forget his name, that he used to train with. So he used to train with him. So he had like the kind of almost the East and West type thing influence. Mark came from Kent, was trained a lot in Kendall. So he trained full time in Kendall with Tony McConnell, who had done some catch wrestling, who had done a bunch of other stuff. So when Mark done some turnovers, like from the ground, a lot of them are really similar to some of the catch stuff. They're not cranking neck, but it's kind of almost modified, like the elbow turnovers and stuff like that. And then Mark would do stuff on the ground that was from Eastern Europe, that he would get from tournaments. And then Mark had a more classical kind of style. So that he also had that kind of the belt gripping style as well. So Mark could do classical judo, the snap, the beautiful Japanese judo, and then go into the kind of the Russian or Eastern European type judo. And
grips, right? The entries were different.
Yeah, their angles were different. I've got to get that video of Mark put on to like some other format, a pen or something.
Send it to Bob, and Bob can capture it and send it. He can put it on Vimeo for you.
Maybe do that.
He can reconstruct it. That was the tape that you showed me, and I was like, "What the heck? What throws it?" That's when he was throwing you on the thick mat, right?
Yeah. He was actually throwing someone else, but there's a couple. I've got some videos from a seminar in Minnesota that he was throwing me on a mat like a wrestling mat, and I was bouncing. It was like crazy. Yeah, but those guys were amazing because they had both the classical Japanese and the more kind of Western kind of approach to it. And that was the time when in judo you could grab the legs too. So you could do like the Bora belly, and you could do any different stuff there. And you could do the Morotigari, double leg. Yeah. So you could do all that stuff. And now I'm not really too up with it, but I don't think in judo you can do that now. You can grab the legs, but you have to.
You can't break the grip. You got to use one hand to break the grip. You can't use a double-handed grip break. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, it is. It's really changed. It's changed a lot. I haven't kept up with the judo stuff, but the stuff that I learned is, everything that they taught me, and I wasn't nowhere near as good as them, anywhere near, but was all world-class stuff, and it all really was great. Yeah, so I was really privileged to train with that.
Yeah, I remember watching just that grip class alone years ago with you and Mark, and I was like, holy mackerel. How about when Billy took off the kit, the top, and then he brought in Nigel Donahue?
Yeah. But the problem, Nigel was great, a great wrestler. Nigel Donahue was from Manchester, third in the world in judo. I think he took a medal in the Olympics, maybe, or fifth place. Great player. And he came from Urmston, and which is like about 20 miles from Wigan. So they had a real wrestling background. And the problem for me there, it was great. The sessions were great because all the guys were there, tops off, and just the gi bottoms. But he never really taught anything, He never really taught me how to wrestle, It was just get down and wrestle, So he was surviving. And for me, because I was up against a lot of these professional judo players, I really wasn't getting anywhere. So I never really had the chance to develop that. And that taught me something, because I thought, I used to think the better the person you train with, the more you're going to improve, which is sometimes true. But when you're up against guys who are so far outside your level, you can't even touch them. It was better for me to train with a club judo black belt and be able to throw them. Whereas I go with Billy and all the guys wouldn't let me throw them at all. They wouldn't let me in. They would keep me out. So they wouldn't like, okay, you throw me a little bit. And that was a no-no. That wasn't happening. So I never really learned to throw. My throws were only half throws because, these guys were so good. And then eventually, when I started to train with guys who were maybe normal guys, I was throwing them and I couldn't believe it. I thought, man, this is amazing. I can actually throw people. you know, but I never had that full ability to kind of throw people. And with Nigel, it was the same thing because we were wrestling with Graham. You know, he's got the reflexes of a mongoose. You know, he's like shifting so fast. I couldn't get anywhere near him. So I never learned to wrestle of Nigel, but it was great. The classes were great themselves, great workouts and great positions. I mean, I learned 1,000 times more from you than anybody really, you know, there, you know. So no, it's true. Wow, it's true.
What about Graham Randall? What's he up to?
I don't know. I think he's involved with judo in Scotland. I think he's a managerial role, but other than that, I don't know. I've not seen Graham for a long time.
Graham Randall won the was in a 2000 in Birmingham. He won the Worlds.
Same time as
Jimmy Pedro. Same time Jimmy Pedro won the Worlds. Graham Randall won it for Scotland. And that mentality was cool. He walked out and raised his hands, and he's like, "Everyone's here to watch me. They're all just here to see me." But it was great. That mentality is right.
Yeah, he's like a real like legend, you know. And you know, it's funny because Scotland, you know, I mean, it's like the other a couple of months ago, Fabian and I were downstairs in the pub from where we are now, and we bumped into Ken Buchanan, and Ken Buchanan was Roberto Duran won his first world title from Ken Buchanan.
Wow.
Yeah, so Ken Buchanan, he held the world title for 2 years. 1970, he won it from Laguna and San Juan, 15 rounds, 115 degrees for a Scotsman. Yeah. So Ken Buchanan is a legend here. You know, he's in Madison Square Garden Hall of Fame. Muhammad Ali said he had the best jab he'd ever seen.
Oh,
Muhammad Ali. Ring magazine voted him the best jab of 1972 or something. So Ken Buchanan is an amazing, like boxer from way back, you know. And when Duran got beat Sugar Ray Leonard, they said to him, "Is Sugar Ray the best fighter you've ever fought?" He said, "No." He said, "The Scotsman." So Buchanan, a legend. So you see these guys who people forget about them or just don't know about them. And we were downstairs, met him in the pub. I've known him for a long time.
Just having a beer?
Yeah. And basically, it was just an honor to see him. And we got a photo taken and stuff. And guys like that, it's just an honor to be around them. But it's like guys like Billy Robinson. I mean, when he was older with a walking stick, people see that and they don't really realize that at one time he was like, well, he is a legend. He was a legend, but, you know, people don't see it. So for Ken Buchanan, it's the same thing, you know. I mean, here's the guy who, you know, Duran holds in the highest respect still. And Duran actually put him in hospital for a week because he punched his nuts. He uppercutted him, not ended the fight.
Oh, man.
And
punch him right in the boys.
Uppercut in the groin. Yeah, it's a great fight. I'll have to put it up. I'm going to send you the fight. It's on YouTube. Yeah,
that's what I should have used on that guy that was sitting on my calf machine. Overhook and right uppercut to the beanbag.
You know what? You should let it go.
Yeah, I know. But I'm still drawing out fight scenarios for movies for my new movie trailer.
Okay. That's great.
What I would or could do to 3 guys at Gold's Gym.
I think you're going to let it go.
I know.
Well, we had a situation the other week there, Fabiana and I were in the car, and it's a long story, but I kind of blocked this thing off. This guy was peeping at me, and he gets out and he's giving me the finger, and he's giving me all this, and I'm sitting there, Fabiana's going to the hairdresser, and the guy got out, and he was super small, right? He was like this size on me, and I'm not tall.
Wow.
And he was like, and he's giving me this, I'm going to give you this, and I just drove off. He's probably still no.
He's probably still in the intersection.
But I thought there's no way I'm going to get on and fight you, man. It's ridiculous, you know. This is crazy. And him and his wife was shouting at Fabiana. And
you know what you should have done? You should have just got out and said, "I'm only going to use my jab." Just stay off your joust. just joust them a few times.
I probably should have done that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what are you up to today? Are you teaching or what are you doing?
I did kickboxing this morning, and then I've got let's see, what is it? Monday I got jiu-jitsu, and then catch wrestling.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's I tell people, I said, do the jiu-jitsu and make sure you take your gi off and do the no-gi grappling. I said, it's funny how that used to be our big class, and now it's the small class. But because I've been telling people that they're fortunate that they get to do both at the same level at the school, people started showing up and coming in, and I turned it into we warm up with a little bit of technique, a little bit of drilling, and then I put everyone against the bags, and I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of people, 6 groups of 2, 4 groups standing and 2 groups on the ground. And they're only a minute and a half rolls, and you just go for it.
Oh, that's tough though, right? That's tough. Wow.
You just get in, you get around in, you get out, or if you're not tired, you stay in. And so guys love that because it's like going to a tournament. I go, how many guys got to tell me how many matches you're going to get in today? Before you get out there today, how many matches are you going to have today? Your matches are a minute and 15 seconds. And this guy's like, I'm getting at least 8 in. And I go, perfect. So this guy goes in, he goes out and goes in, goes out, goes in, and then stays in and stays in and then goes out. They get their gymwins.com.
Yeah.
You have to register on my website, gymwins.com. Like, how many victories do you have today? When I fought Matt Hume, I think he was registered on gymwins.com.
Oh, really?
245 and 18. That was his record.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, what are you counting for fights? That's bullshit.
Wow.
And he goes, Hickson's 400 no. And I go, yeah, so is Gokor.
But Hickson never did that, did he? I didn't hear Hickson say that himself. That was something somebody brought up. Am I wrong? Did Hickson say that? Or
I don't know. But the whole thing is what's counted as a fight. First of all, when you street fight, you don't record it. You don't say, oh yeah, well, in this fight I won, and this one I won. I won all my fights. I've had 400 fights. It's like, how do you know? Are you counting? What do you have a tally on your bedpost? I mean, how are you keeping count of you have to register on gymwins.com, and you just have to be honest, but you have to put, tonight I had 3 victories and I lost 2. So I was 3-2 tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
that's why I like the term, the Japanese term, randori, or practice, because it's a practice, and in a practice you debate, or you make mistakes, or it's not shiai, it's not competition, right? So people go, yeah, I won tonight, I did this, did that, and I'm going to hold on a minute. It's a practice. Guys are practicing things. You're practicing stuff. You're going to get caught, whether you're a black belt or a white belt or anything, or bigger, or more. So what's the big deal? It's not. And people go, yeah, I've got this and I've done this. And I go, come on, it's not that big a deal. So
that's right. I think practice is number one thing, you don't talk about practice. Number 2, you'll never go to a wrestling gym or a boxing gym and ask somebody how they did, because guess what? They're going to get taken down. They're going to get pinned. They're going to get punched in the face. They may not get knocked out, but you're going to get punched. You're going to get hit. You're going to get taken down. That's par for the course. Jiu-jitsu is the only place where people will go, hey, guess what? I tapped out 5 guys tonight. It's like, oh, congratulations.
Like I said, when I was butterfly guard and you were punching me in the head lightly. I
wasn't counting those as victories.
But no, that still resonates with me, because I'll never forget that, because it was such a learning experience. And that's a practice, right? Where I go, man, I was doing something stupid, and you nicely tapped me. So I go, that's fine. So you go, it's true.
You've never had a donkey punch like my donkey punch. go inverted and go for a knee bar, you get donkey punched.
I just looked up gymwins.com. It really is a domain.
Oh, it is? That was my domain.
Well, somebody parked on it, so the current going rate is $4,195.
Shut up.
But it really, somebody did register it.
Yeah, after I said it. Who owns it? Does it say who owns it?
I didn't go that deep. We can do a who is on it, but yeah, somebody parked on it.
What a mofo. So lame. You get one good idea and sure.
I think we're coming up on like 2.5 hours. We're probably gonna have to cut it soon, but
well, hold on. Let's wake Alan up. Alan, wake up.
I'm awake.
Oh,
Alan,
I'm just taking it all in, man.
But Coach Rick, if you want to convert your archives, I will fly to Scotland to get them.
okay, but I'd love you to do one tape at least. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'll do all of them.
I'm going to try and look that out. I'm going to try and get that, you know. But, yeah.
Like what you do is you send Bob a box of your DVDs, and then what he does, he creates a file called on Vimeo, and then you just access your Vimeo account. Nobody else has access to it, and you can watch all your videos on there. And then if you want to share something, you videotape it on your phone.
Wow. Wow. Okay. That's
what I do.
Good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really easy.
I'm sorry I came on late. I apologize.
It's all right. You guys, it's late. It's cold there too.
Sorry?
It's cold there, and Fabiana, she's starving. She wants Thai food tonight.
Yeah, I got my son here. Nathan is here.
Nathan, where's Nathan?
Let's say hi.
Here, Erik calling you.
Come on.
Hi. This hi.
Let me see how big you are.
Hi. Nathan's going to come.
Nathan, how big are you?
Hi.
All right. Hey.
Holy mackerel. You're like a lumberjack. Wow. You must be really enjoying the grappling, huh?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Now, are you interested to do MMA or?
Yeah, I wanted, but he says I'm not good.
Well,
I said to him he should do jiu-jitsu or submission grappling tournaments so he can see if he can handle the competition without getting punched. Okay. Then handle that, then go to MMA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, so how many does your brother train or?
No, he's lazy.
Well, hey, so what's your favorite move now?
My favorite what?
What's your favorite move? Your submission. What's your gimmick?
Probably it's not a submission, but like an escape from mount. What's it called?
The escape from mount when it brings the legs over.
Oh, and then heel hooks.
Yeah, you like
like that.
Ah,
so
that's wonderful. Hey, how many girlfriends do you have now?
About 10.
Don't forget, you're a young, you guys have girls swarming all around you.
Good answer.
This one retired, okay?
Yeah,
that's
this is you see, I was going to show you my ring, but she has my ring there. But listen, I'm so sorry I was late. I apologize, and I'm an idiot. And it was been great to speak. Yeah. Great to speak. And Erik, Coach
really
Erik,
nice. You guys, I know it's super late.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to say thanks to you for everything you've done for me. Can't thank you enough. Honestly, I mean that. You've done so much.
It's the other way around, Rick.
Thank you. And hopefully we're going to make it out to the States later this year. I hope so.
Yeah, we got to celebrate.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we really want to honestly come out and see you later on in the year. We'd love that. Yeah, that'd be great. To get back to some sort of normality. But thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks,
you guys.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Hi, Coach.
That's great. Oh, that's so great. Everybody's happy.
I think so. But thanks so much for everything. Okay. And
I'll I'll give you love to girl. I'll give you your love.
Please give my love to you, love to Tonya, love to you all guys. Thank you so much. And you look great. Erik, you look amazing. I'm so happy. No, honestly, every time I see you doing stuff, I'm so happy for you. Okay, honestly, genuinely.
Thank you. I remember your look, how sad and pathetic you saw me when I was just laying there. When Rick came to visit me in the hospital, he said, "Would you like me to read you a comedy, the Bible, or The Old Man and the Sea?" And I said, "Well, I've never heard about that book, so could you read me?" So he would read it, and as soon as he'd start reading, I would just drift off into La La Land. And he would read me scripture while I was laying there. And because they used to give me so many painkillers for my neck, it was funny because he would be reading and I drift off and I'm like, I can't believe Sean Connery's reading me the Bible. It was like it was
everybody. When I start speaking to people, they fall asleep.
Your voice is majestic, and you're reading some really nice things. Old Man and the Sea was a beautiful book that I never even thought.
I'm gonna read you the last 50 pages. You never know.
Book on it. Thank you. I appreciate that. That really helped out. My mom really appreciated hanging out and meeting you, and thank you for buying wine to comfort her when she was stressed out of her mind, not knowing if I was going to make it or not.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough time, but you're amazing. And listen, I love you and be safe. And thanks for. And I'm going to reply to the videos now.
Finally, good gosh! I got to put people on blast.
Okay, thanks so much.
Awesome.
Hey, Rick, God bless you.
Thank you.
We're running.
Thank you, Coach.
We love you, Coach. Thank you very much.
Guys, love you.
Thank you.
Love you, Rick, Ellen, Bob. So long to all of you.
Yes.
Au revoir.